Hey guys, it's time for another Mondays with Matt, and today we are interviewing Ms. Tanna Harris with Combined Arms. Tanna.
Good morning.
She's going to tell us a little bit about what Combined Arms does for our veterans and what they're doing to help everybody through this pandemic. Okay.
Yeah, sure. So Melanie, you're pretty familiar with Combined Arms. You've been a volunteer up at this building for quite a while, and really do appreciate all of your input and all of your God, you're such a dedicated volunteer. So we love having you up here too.
Oh.
Yes, one of the best bartenders I've ever seen, and does it with a smile. 900 people, and then she's still got a smile on her face. Um, but so Combined Arms, we are 72 member organizations. We're probably adding a couple throughout this process. I just don't know that exact number, but we're up to at least 72. And with that, that's over 440 services to our veterans and their families. And every service is completely free. And some of those member organizations are national organizations, but they just have an office here in Houston, like Team Rubicon, Mission Continues, the Travis Manion Foundation. They're national, but they have offices other places. Um, and then we also have some of our partner organizations like Goodwill and Easter Seals. They're larger organizations and they're not specifically a veteran organization, but they do have a component there that does help veterans and service veterans and their families. So all of those sort of mixed in together. And basically, what Combined Arms really began and is for a transitioning veteran or a veteran who has transitioned 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's very, very hard to go from that military experience, that very regimented experience into, the real world, which who knows what that real world is now, right, for us. But it's a little different than it was, a month or so ago. But we want to make sure that we have services available for every component. So when a veteran gets out of the service, like you don't know what are the proper nonprofits, where the best place to go for advice. There's no way to know. Is this one of those nonprofits that's on a list someplace that doesn't do anything? They're just not effective. And so we carefully vet every organization that becomes part of us. We've turned down many organizations before because they don't measure up. We've put some organizations on probation. We've even asked some organizations to go ahead and find a home elsewhere because we have very, very high standards. So as a veteran, when you log into our portal, it's just like creating any other profile. You just answer a series of questions, and you don't have to know what the logos mean. You don't have to know what member orgs do. You just answer these questions, and based on your answers, this information is split out amongst all of our organizations so that, say you indicated that you wanted to mentor kids and that you wanted to volunteer, but you had some legal questions, and maybe you might want to look into some sort of counseling. And so Lone Star Legal Aid will get a ding from you. Travis Manion Foundation will get a ding because you want to maybe volunteer. And those organizations have 96 hours to get back to that veteran. So the onus is on a veteran to at least make a profile in the portal, but then the real responsibility is for those orgs to get back to them. And 96 hours sounds like a long time. And before the pandemic, we were down to 44 hours in terms of responses. That was the average, which is less than half what the requirement is. It went up a little bit at the beginning, and now we're back down, I think, to 46 hours for member orgs to respond back to our veterans with any sort of resources that they could need. We also have a policy where if an organization can't help a veteran with something that they're asking about, they can refer them to somebody else. And they must, the onus is on them to make sure that they get referred to someone else and connected. So we're really more of a technology and an accountability organization.
Awesome. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
72.
Yep, 72, and probably closer to 76 or so when we come out of this, because we do still have organizations who want to be part of us. And the interesting thing is that you would think there'd be something like this in every city. When I was first kind of asking questions about it, I said, I have some friends in California that are just getting out of the service. What's the Combined Arms number in California? And there is no other system like this in any other major city. So we are expanding. We've expanded into Austin. We have a small group up in Montgomery County. We're expanding into El Paso. In fact, one of our teammates here is moving to El Paso and standing up the Combined Arms in El Paso. She leaves the last day of school this year. Who knows? But so she'll leave at the end of May, and we're talking into New Orleans, New York, So people are finding out about our technology and wanting to be able to help veterans in a more comprehensive way. So they're looking at adopting our technology for different areas so that it can be just a one-stop shop for a veteran.
Awesome. Fantastic. So if somebody wanted to volunteer or get in touch with you, how would they go about doing that?
So volunteering right now, we do have some initiatives that are really great to volunteer for that you can do in your own home. We have something called Operation Buddy Check, which is basically a list of veterans, and we're making phone calls, kind of splitting the list up and giving a handful of names to volunteers. So just there's 3 or 4 questions, because you're not trained to, and I'm not either, to be a social worker. So if something does arise and there certain answers, then then that you have to refer that to our intake team. But mainly,
so what you're saying though is anybody can do that.
Anybody can do that. Right? Anybody can make those phone calls, and then just check the name off the list with what the status was, and then we just keep on going down that list. We did something similar to that in Harvey, or after Harvey. So this is a kind of a recreation of that. We also have our neighborhood leadership initiative, so you can become a leader in your neighborhood, which doesn't mean knocking on doors and checking on your neighbors, but there's an app and a website called Nextdoor that I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with, and that way you can create a spot there. And anytime we receive information about COVID, which we tend to get some information a little sooner because of our collaboration with the UT Health Medical Center, we can put that information up there, just kind of give people updates. So that's one of the things we're doing. We've got a handful of other things coming up as we start to look at, virtual events. We've done some virtual happy hours with our staff, which are quite entertaining. And we do have some of our member organizations now that our Christian group has a monthly luncheon. They already had 2 now virtually, and they have a weekly coffee break. Those have been very popular. Our spouses group is starting to have virtual happy hours. I know that they're probably tired of talking to their spouses and really tired of talking to their kids and the pets and the whole 9 yards. So those are some of the things that we're working on, and we're really hoping that as we get closer to opening up our city and our economy, that we can start scheduling events that are in person. We know that that's going to be a different kind of rollout. We're going to have to be very careful and make sure everyone's taken care of and everyone feels comfortable. But we are really looking to the future. We're excited for our LGBTQ ball in September. We definitely, we've got our picnic on the schedule. We've got Operation Santa on the schedule. So we're moving forward as though there's going to be a great deal of normalcy at some point on the other side of this. So
awesome. So what's the website, or where do they go if they want to look into this?
So the website is www.combinedarms.us. Okay. And what we've noticed is that there's been very much of an uptick in services looking for food and financial assistance. And those numbers are, I've got a little stat here, and it said we've got 94 financial assistance cases in the last 30 days. And normally for a month, it's between 30 and 40.
Wow.
So, almost doubled there. The Houston Food Bank is one of our member orgs. They're really desperately looking for volunteers actually at this point. And we do have a 30-minute every day Facebook Live series at 2:00, and it's interviewing one of our member orgs for them to tell us what are they doing through the pandemic, how can people help, how can people get those services. So if you want to go to any of our Facebook pages, that's there every single day on at 2:00, and we'll be rerunning those too. The Houston Food Bank we're doing today at a different time, just because we think it's just really needed, and we'll keep rerunning the Houston Food Bank one so that if anybody needs any assistance, they can know how to go to Houston Food Bank. And if you know somebody yourself that needs assistance but doesn't want to say so, that's always a good place to refer them to.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
All right, doing wonderful things, as always, you guys are. So thank you so much for, keeping us up to date and telling everybody where they can go, how they can help, and spending some time with me this morning. Yeah, no, of course. And hopefully we'll get to see your smiling face out there in person very soon, so that we can be all volunteering together. And, it's going to be a different looking world, but it's our volunteers really that keep things going and really, and not just for Combined Arms, but for all of our member organizations. So we're really looking forward to getting back to working with, the backbone of all of our organizations, our volunteers. So check in and see how ways you can help. Awesome. Will do. Thanks so much, Tanna. Yeah, thanks, Melanie. Talk to you later. See ya. Bye.